Well, welcome everyone to our monthly meeting, our June meeting. We do welcome you. We thank those of you who joined us for the annual meeting. We thank you for sticking around, and we've got quite a treat for you today. Our speaker for this evening is amazing, and so we're really excited about that. So we'll start out just by giving you our monthly updates, and then we'll jump right into our speaker. So with that said, we'll start with our membership updates. Karen?
Okay.
Can you hear us, Karen?
I can hear. Can you hear me?
We can now.
Okay. I don't know if it's on my end, but I think I might be having some internet connection issues, so I keep spinning occasionally. So I apologize ahead of time. But first of all, I am super excited. 93 members as of Monday this week. So that is really super exciting, and we're so close to that 600 numbers. I'm really excited about that. And so 19 new members since the last time we met. And you can see all the names here. I'm not going to read all your names here. If you're here, welcome, and really appreciate you guys joining us, joining our chapter. All right, next slide. Anniversaries. So we have 4 who are celebrating a year with us, Susan, Katie, Emily, and Jake. Really appreciate you guys sticking for the last. Congratulations on that. 5 years, Shani, Ian, Sarah, and Marie. So really appreciate, again, you guys sticking around for 5 years. And we have 10 years, Patrice and Dave Limberg. That's really exciting. 10 years, that is just awesome. And we really appreciate you guys, your membership, your involvement in our chapter. New certification. So we have 3 new PMPs. I don't know if you guys are here. It would be amazing if you were. Russell, Jeffrey, and Christopher all earned their PMP in the last month. That is a congratulations to the 3 of you. All right, and finally, this will be the final member raffle. So I don't yet have the winner of the May raffle. I will get that out shortly, and we'll notify the winner there. And then for June, we communicated this last month, but if you had attended the annual meeting that was right before this meeting, you are in for the raffle as long as you're a new or renewed member. And of course, anybody who received a new my certification as well is also included in that raffle. So that drawing will be held shortly as well. And then we'll take a pause for the next 3 months while we're on hiatus. So for July, I guess it's only 2 months, July and August, right? So we're back in September. So we'll take a hiatus in July and August, take a little bit of a break with our raffle, and we'll get back at it in the fall. Finally, I think this might be my last. No, I think I have another slide. Sorry. So I've mentioned this before, but again, just some information out there for those of you who may not know. There are different categories, the individual, which really applies to most everyone. So those who are continuing to work in the project management profession, the individual category applies to you. There's also a student category. So you have to be enrolled in a full-time degree granting college or university like BSU. You would fall into the student category. Retiree, if you've retired from active employment and are a member in good standing for the past 5 years, you would fall in that category. In the student retiree categories, they do get a discount on the PMI membership. So just something to note there. And as you've heard, if you were in the annual meeting, we talked a little bit about Project Bites. This is a free service provided to our PMI WIC members. So you must be a member in order to get access to Project Bites, and that is a $90 value.
All right, thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay, I think we want to go over the outcome of the elections at this time. Not sure if Colleen is on stage or if Cheryl, you want to cover that? I'm not sure who's covering that.
Yeah, sure. I can jump in. I think Colleen definitely addressed that at the annual meeting. She had a slide that let us know all the transitions and the folks rolling off and the new folks rolling in. I don't have that information right in front of me, so I'm just.
That's okay.
Oh,
we can wing it.
Here's Colleen. Here's Colleen. Hang on. She's just getting on. So's Janelle. There we go.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So can you guys hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay, great. Yeah, I can throw that slide up one more time. And I'll just, if you let me share, who else is sharing? There we go. Let me get this up. And whoops, can you see it?
Yes, we can.
All right, so drum roll. This is our new PMI Western Idaho Chapter 2022 to 23 Board of Directors. I will move into the past president role. Craig will take over as president. Tanisha, congratulations, has been elected as president-elect. Artie will continue in her VP of Comms position for a second year. George has been elected as our VP of Technology. Welcome, George. This is a new VP role on the board. Karen has been elected as VP of Finance. Congratulations, Karen. And Michelle is going to continue in her role as VP of Marketing for another year. Ben, welcome to the board. He's been elected as our VP of Membership. And Cheryl will continue in her role as VP of Prof Dev for another year. And Mary Beth Cronin joins the board, newly elected into the VP of Programs role. So congratulations to all the new electees. And thank you very much to Janelle and Becky, who are stepping off of the board. You guys did an amazing job, and really appreciated all of your efforts. Janelle for the past 3 years in the president track, and Becky for the past 2 years is as VP of Finance. We will miss you guys. We also have executive volunteers: Brian Russell, our Lunch and Learn coordinator; LJ Rispins, our marketing coordinator. And these guys are going to continue for the coming year. We also have openings. So we're recruiting for executive volunteer positions for PMIEF, which is the Educational Foundation, working with the Future Cities event, communications coordinator, a technology coordinator, and a volunteer coordinator. So, and we also have other volunteer opportunities that come up on professional development, marketing, and programs teams. So we're looking for more volunteers. And my primary role as past president is to recruit. Guess what? Recruit. I will recruit you. So that's your new board for the coming year. And these positions are effective July 1st. Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen.
You bet.
Okay, and now we will have Michelle talk to us about our marketing.
As our membership has grown back to pre-COVID levels, we've also expanded our exposure across social media platforms. And I am thrilled to share that we are at exactly 1,000 followers combined on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also, I encourage each of you who, if you can't make it live, our speaker presentations are platformed on YouTube. So you can follow us in many different ways. And if anybody would like to help me continue to get further exposure, looking for a couple of committee members and social media and sponsorship, please reach out to me. We had a question earlier. Nola Walker wants to know how to volunteer. We'll address that, but you can reach out to any one of the board members based on what you'd like to do. And I'm honored to serve again next year. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle. We appreciate that update. Okay, we'll now turn it over to Becky to give us an update on our finance.
Thanks, Tanisha. Not a big change from last month. We are still moving up, creeping up just a little bit. I suspect that as the year progresses and the investments that are going to be made for our members, that'll creep down just a little bit. But in general, things are looking very good. So in essence, flat is the new black.
Thank you, Becky. All right, and we do have some events that we want you to be aware of, some that are happening when we return. Like we said, we are on a 2-month hiatus for the summer, but there are some events coming up in August and in September that we don't want you to miss. So with that said, we'll start with the Lunch and Learn update.
Okay, so for Lunch and Learn updates, we are actually partnering with Project Bites. David Barrett is the coordinator for Project Bites program, and he's going to bring to us 2 speakers who will share the Lunch and Learn hour. They will each speak for 20 minutes and then each have separate breakout sessions for their presentations for 5 minutes each. And then, of course, we'll come back for a regroup. And so that'll be about 55 minutes of presentation. So it should be great. Looking forward to that. Don't have our speakers just yet, but as soon as we have that information, we will be pushing that out through our mailer that comes out each Tuesday. And then, of course, we update our website with any of the new upcoming events as well. So watch for updates on that. We should be getting information out to everyone probably by mid-July.
Awesome. Thank you, Cheryl.
Mm-hmm.
And then for our evening event, we want you to mark your calendars for September the 28th. That will be our event in September, and to be determined. We will send you out some information on what we will be covering in September for our evening meeting. So stay tuned. And then let's talk about our volunteer opportunities. Looks like we'll be doing some volunteer work over the summer. PMI WIC, we're always busy.
Yeah, so Idaho Food Bank volunteer activity, that'll happen on August 5th. So even though we're on hiatus for July and August in terms of our lunch and learns and evening events, we will still have our volunteer activity on August 5th. And so stay tuned for more details on that in our upcoming community updates. So probably, I would say probably in the next few weeks, you should see something there where you can sign up for that event.
Great, thank you. All right. We also want to focus in. We've been talking about volunteers. We need people. So this is for you. So if you've been wondering, how can I get involved now that, kind of COVID is whatever it's doing? I don't know. We don't know. But you can always get involved. We always need lots of help. It takes the whole village to make this thing happen. So we'll focus in on a couple key volunteer events that we have coming up.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely need volunteers. So the Wykin Foundation reached out to PMI WIC to have a professional development seminar teaching project management principles to our veterans, or our wounded and injured veterans, through their foundation. And so we have this opportunity to provide these classes on September 13th, October 11th, and November 8th. And so what we're looking for are 6 to 8 volunteers per session, where they're actually expecting about 45 people per session to attend these events. They're very popular. And so we're really excited to help the Wykin Foundation this fall. And if you're interested in volunteering for this event, whether, and we'll provide the materials. We're working on materials for each of these events or each of these sessions. But if you're interested in teaching or just helping out the groups, because we need people to help, we're going to divide these 45 folks into probably 8 groups. So we're going to need probably 6 to 8 volunteers per session just to help them out as they ask questions and things like that. It should be a really great time. So I'm looking forward to that. But if you're interested in helping out with this volunteer event, please reach out to the VP of Membership.
Okay, we will now talk about our professional development day that is coming up.
Okay, no changes so far, which is great. We're still looking for an in-person PDD in September 21st, at Boise State at the Student Union Building. So I hope you guys have been getting and reading the emails and the announcements regarding our keynote speaker and the breakout sessions. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a great time for us to get together as a PM community and kind of do a lot of professional development. So get out there, get your tickets if you haven't already done it, because we had a rush, and then it's been kind of a lull as people I think are getting into the summer and kind of waiting. But don't wait, because there is a limited space. So if you're interested in going or know somebody who is, get out there and get your Rhapsody ticket before it's too late.
All right, thank you, Craig. And now we are transitioning to tonight's presentation. We are so excited to have with us Christie Fisher. She is the Vice President of Service Delivery for ZAG Technical Services. So just to give you a little, just to orient you for tonight, we ask that you put your questions or your comments, your thoughts in the Q&A tab. So if you see session, we want you to click session and then use the Q&A tab in sessions to put your information in. Any questions, any comments that you have. Christie wants this to be really interactive, so we realize that that's slightly limiting, right, with our platform, but please feel free to type away, and I'll make sure to bring any questions, any comments to her awareness throughout the session. So feel free to just put your questions in all throughout the session, because she does want this to be very interactive. Also, we want to remind you that you can claim 1 PDU for this event. And we encourage you, you'll receive an email after this event or tomorrow with instructions on how to do that. So with that said, and without any further ado, we're going to get to our presentation tonight. So I will introduce Christie. I'll read her bio, and I'll also introduce Michelle Marshall as well. They're going to tag team and share together about ZAG's PM hiring grid for tonight. So we're very, very excited to have Christie. We're excited for everyone that's here. We thank you so much, everyone, for your flexibility from our in-person to now virtual. So we thank you all for showing up tonight. We're very, very excited to hear from Christie. Christie Fisher, as I mentioned, is the Vice President of Service Delivery for ZAG Technical Services, where she oversees the delivery of services and solutions to clients as part of the executive leadership team. She joined ZAG from Teos, an IBM company, where she served as the Principal Customer Success Manager for one of the company's largest clients. Christie's success at ZAG is rooted in her ability to set strategic initiatives for clients and call on her extensive technical experience in network and systems engineering to ensure projects are executed to ZAG's high standards. She oversees the operational planning and oversight for the engineering, business applications, project management, and client operations departments. My goodness. Ensuring that ZAG effectively delivers services and solutions in line with clients' expectations. Christie's background encompasses a broad range of skill sets, including project management, network LAN engineering, and account management. She combines each of these with an expansive knowledge of client relations, best practices to consistently deliver outstanding customer service to ZAG clients. And if you didn't know, she actually has free time, which I find amazing. But in her free time, she is an avid adventurer whose hobbies include travel, photography, golf, scuba diving, wine tasting, and just about any outdoor activity. So at this time, I will stop my screen share so that we can put her presentation up. And we welcome you, Christie, to our event tonight. And as I said, joining her will be Michelle Marshall. Michelle is not only our Vice President of Marketing, but she also is on Christie's team at ZAG as well. And so, Michelle, if you will just share a little bit about yourself and maybe tonight's presentation before you get started, we'd appreciate that.
Absolutely. As I stated earlier, I'm honored to serve you in my board role with PMI. And in my spare time, I work for ZAG Technical Services as a business strategist. And I'll talk more about what the company does, but my passion is to help keep companies secure so they can grow. And we do that through our cybersecurity solutions, amongst many other things. Next slide, please, Tanisha. ZAG, as I mentioned, helps companies get better, stay secure, and grow. We deliver our IT consulting and managed services to the Western U.S. agribusiness, food and beverage, manufacturing, nonprofit, and utility companies. We serve our clients in the food and ag community and our partners from offices based in California and Idaho. And we did a major pivot during COVID and have team members across 12 different states. It's been amazing. Our CEO and founder, Greg Gatzke, said two things recently. He never thought he'd wear jeans to work on a casual Friday, let alone every day, and that he could successfully and seamlessly serve clients from home. It's a great pivot, lots of understanding. How does ZAG help? Well, we have offer CXO thought leadership meetings on using technology as a competitive advantage. What does that mean? In IT, it can be an expense, or you can figure out how it's going to help you be successful. And you can do that with a partner, and ZAG is one of them. Our cybersecurity consulting and incident response and disaster recovery planning offering is strong and relevant right now. Some of you may remember Eric Regnier, who spoke to our group in March. He is helping lead that practice, and never before has there been a time to be able to know how to prepare and, more importantly, react to a cyber threat. We have solution architects designing strategic IT roadmaps, addressing what is known as, air quotes, tech debt. As a company ages in their infrastructure, how do you effectively invest and make the right decisions about future and scale? Business application developers building decision dashboards to help leaders make good business decisions. And then near and dear to my heart, our project managers. We have an EPMO that ensures client engagement success, and they are truly heroes that take something from concept to reality. Help desk and systems engineering, supporting end users of the client. It should be so seamless that they seem like an extension of the client, and access to 112 business and technology resources across the Western US. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Christie. If I could have the next slide. Tanisha did an amazing job of providing an overview. She doesn't sleep is the answer. She just gets energized by everything she does. Technology delivery, strategic sales, project management, and executive leader for the ZAG organization. Her certifications include a PMP, Network ITIL, and AWS. She was recognized as a 2022 Managed Service Provider, or MSP, Woman of the Year, along with another colleague of ZAG, Brittany Cruz, global traveler and photographer, recently, literally off the plane from Portugal, jewelry designer, scuba diver, and a proud single mom of a college graduate. It gives me great pleasure to turn my chair over to Christie, who's going to share with you how she addresses project management hiring. And I encourage those of you here tonight to say, well, what are you looking for? What do you need? How should I certify, etc. We'll also get support from Cheryl Bishop, our leader and professional development to address micro-credentialing opportunities and other paths to continue your lifelong learning pursuits in the field of project management. Here she is, Christie Fisher.
You have to make the switch now in between the chairs here. Thank you for that intro, Michelle. And thank you all of you for having me here, at least virtually this evening. I'm going to try to squish here. We have the sun coming in. So I'm here to talk to you today about a challenge that we had on our project management recruiting and some changes that we made that have been majorly impactful to the type of project managers that we're bringing into our organization. The challenge, we've got multiple challenges, but one of the unique things right from the start is that as a consulting company, we don't have to worry about just the culture of our internal team, but we have the cultures of all of our clients too. And so our project managers have to come in and not only juggle multiple projects as all project managers do, but they're juggling multiple projects at multiple clients. So it's not like an internal project management PMO office where you know the organization, you know what projects are on there, everybody's on the same path. They're switching gears between all of the many clients that we have. So they're having to learn multiple organizations. It's almost like working for 40 companies at the same time. Along with that, we're on a technical track, and we have clients who are all the way from small mom and pop, tiny organizations to very large enterprise organizations. So they not only have to shift on that, but the size of the projects and the size of the companies as well. And then with that big technical focus, we need to have PMs that understand technology and can deal with, I don't know how many of you PMs out there have dealt with engineers, but they can be challenging. So you have to have that specific kind of skill set. So one of the things that we did is to change the way that we do our interview process to make sure that we cover the technical background, the good communication skills, the juggling skills, the presentation skills, get those all together all at once. Next slide, please. So how did we do that? So our leader of our PMO got together and said, all right, let's, how are we going to address this? And she came up with a few different things that we could change in the screening process. So the first phase of this is pretty normal. Probably most of you do this. But in addition to your normal interviewing with HR and whoever else, we've brought in a couple key project managers who do a few things. They come in and they screen for culture. Is this person going to fit the culture that we have at ZAG and in our PMO, as well as fit in with all of the variety of clients that we have? So we bring in a few of our project managers to be on the panel to go through that screening process. They test both for skill set from a project management technical standpoint. You know, how well do they know the project management piece of the role? They test for personality, communication skills, how they think that person's going to fit in. Once they get through that phase, what we do then is we've got some testing that we do. So the extra challenge that we have here is in today's market, you have to move quickly. So we've added this whole extra layer of interviewing into the process. So we also have to do this quickly. But really, we're finding out that this extra screening process is saving us a lot of time, because you spend a lot of money and a lot of time bringing someone on, not only recruiting, but also just onboarding them. No matter how complex your organization is, you need a good 4 to 6 months before that person really can acclimate to your organization, your team, the methodologies that you use. And then in our case, we also have the clients that they all have to learn.
So one of the things that we did is we got together and we recorded a mock meeting. We came up with, fake company, fake people, a fake mission, recorded this meeting session. We send that out to the folks that make it to round 2, and we have them listen to that recording and take notes and then send those notes to us. We do this the day before their final interview, the next stage interview. What that does is that tests their listening skills, because they're listening to an audio file, they're listening to a meeting, they're taking notes, and then we get to see how are their listening skills, what are their note-taking abilities, how do they organize things. So we get this and we get to read it and review it before we actually take them to the next level of interviews. You really get a great insight into how they break things down, how they organize things, and what our clients are going to see from that note-taking perspective, because that's the other thing. Ours aren't just internal. These notes that are taken at these meetings end up going out. They're public. They get published to our clients so that the clients know, they get that record of what happened in the meeting too. So we want to ensure that these folks have this skill set that we need the right way. So do that. We just give them one day. We don't want to have too much time to do it. We want also to see how fast they can turn that around. So we have our HR department send it to them, and then we wait for that result. The other thing that we do is we take, we mock a project charter. Obviously, we're not going to use any of our client information or internal information. So we come up with a nice, good mock project and put a project charter together, and then send that also the day before and have them do a presentation. So what they're supposed to do is we don't give them a template or anything. We just give them the project charter and say, build out a presentation and be prepared to present that presentation at your next interview. So now we get to go through again. You get the reading skills, you see the organizational skills, you see what they'll do when they take that information and try to transition that into a presentation. Then you get to see how they do that. Are they putting 1,000 words on the slide and just reading the slide? Or do they know the material and they can just talk to it without reading it? And gives you a little bit of insight into what things that you might have to coach on when they come in. First, they may make it all the way through the interview process. They check culture, they check PM technical skill set, their note-taking skills are very good, their listening skills are good. Presentation skills might need a little bit of work, but they've checked all these other boxes. And now, we still want to move forward with this candidate, but we know right away, let's prep and get mentoring for their presentation skills right away. Let's tee that up in their first few weeks so that we get them prepped and they're ready to go. And in the few perfect times, you get somebody that checks every single box and you make an offer right away. That's when you've got to move, when you see somebody that gets in that spot. But we take that. Now we've done phase 1, where we've done the peer reviews and the manager of the PMO. We've gone through the technical assessment for project management skills, listening skills, note-taking, presentation skills. When they make it that far, the final interview is with me, the VP of Service Delivery, because that's the key part, right? I'm in charge of all of the work that we deliver for all of our clients. So I want to make sure that we have the right person coming in. And then the other piece that we did, which we found has been extremely effective, and maybe this is because we're a consulting company, but you might think about this from your business perspective. Who in your business is critical to bring in and have the buy-in that they're going to be interacting with the PMO a lot, and you want to make sure that they fit in with the culture of that business unit or those personalities. So in our case, it's the sales team because they're very interactive with the sales team. So we bring in our leader of the sales team, and he comes into that final interview. We have another set of questions. So we have a period of 30 minutes or so where we ask the questions and we interview from our perspective, and we'll catch it from all angles because we're going to catch culture, technical, everything across the board. And then we have them do their presentation at the final part. And then after their presentation, we can open it up for Q&A and see what kind of questions they want to ask us. But then we usually try to throw them a couple curveballs during the presentation. So we pretend that we're the client and we try to throw some curveballs at them to see how they do on the fly too, because that's the other big piece of this. We all know project managers, you can plan, schedule everything out, but there's always going to be a curveball. We need to handle each and every one. Very similar to the last minute change of this presentation being virtual. We had all planned on hoped on being in the same room. We pivoted real quickly, had to be nimble and flexible. So we try to throw them a couple curveballs during that meeting just to test them out on that too. And this process it's been like night and day. From the time that we implemented this, now we're landing with the right people. They're coming in, they're starting faster. They're getting up to speed faster with our organization because we've been through this process so they can get a good feel for how we run our projects and what our client base is like. And then we know more about the PM that we're hiring too. So it helps us prep and get them onboarded faster and ready to deliver great projects for all of our clients. I'm going to pause right there and just see if anybody has any questions. I don't see any in the chat.
There's none in the chat yet, Christy. You are correct, but they might be typing. So let's give them a minute. So if you have a question, we encourage you to put it in the Q&A tab of this session.
And that's really all I had today to talk to you about, because it's really the essence of what we put together for this program. And it has worked wonders for us to go through and just make sure that we're getting the right people. We're not wasting their time. We're not wasting our time. Because if anybody's gone through any hiring, it's very expensive, takes a lot of time. And then that whole onboarding, from the time that you bring them on board till you get them and turn them around and they're managing projects and becoming effective, this process has shortened that for us. And we're getting the right people and delivering quality work for our clients. Our clients are really happy. We're really happy. So we found this to be really effective. And it's just a few minor tweaks. The only caution I would give you is that I see the question I'll get to in just a second. The only caution I would give to you is make sure that you're prepped and you have these things ready to go, because the market that we're in right now, you have to act fast. So you can't let this drag out for too long. So even putting panel interviews together so that you group people together so that you keep it in one short session so that you don't have 15 interviews in a row and drag the thing out for a couple weeks. So the question is, do you find that the better candidates are PMP certified? Well, obviously I'm going to say that as a PMP, but no, any type of project management cert definitely has a much better impact. So PMP is up there in the top. A lot of ours have PMP, and the ones that don't strive to get it later. We do encourage that. Next one, how many resources are typically involved in this process? So in our PMO, we're pretty much bringing in about 3 of our PMs, because we're kind of pulling in, we deal with both software and hardware. So we'll kind of get both of those standpoints. And then our program manager the PMO manager is usually involved, and then that final one is me and our director of sales. So we have 5 or 6 people that usually get involved with us.
And Christy, just a follow-on question to that. So those 5 or 6 people obviously are like super committed to this aggressive time frame. So are you also communicating that to the people that you're interviewing, that it's a very aggressive time frame to kind of keep them engaged in your process? Or like how does that work? Because, you know, we're finding, right, that we're as fast, I work at Micron, and so as fast as we get people, we're losing them, right? Because our process is longer and we're looking for ways to streamline
Right.
our process. So I'm wondering, how communicative are you about kind of your process?
We have to be very communicative, both externally and internally. So internally, we're all busy. Getting our schedules together is really tough. So we have, we have somebody helping out trying to get that schedule. And then we're working with, we use an external recruiting just because we don't have internal recruiting right now. So we work with them and just communicate with them and say, okay, we tell them right away how the interview went so they can get that feedback right to the client. And if we're interested and want that person to go to the next phase, we tell the recruiter we're interested, here's the availability, and we just get them scheduled right away. Because even if we can't fit them in the next day or the day after that, getting them on the schedule signals to them these guys are interested. Then we also make sure that the recruiter asks the question if they have any other hot prospects in the works, or if they're close on an offer. And if we have one that we're really interested in, we'll expedite that and move our schedules around to get that person in sooner.
Wow. Thanks, Christy. Sorry, this was Tanisha. I should have said I'm one of the only people who can talk to you directly. So we can get back to all the questions that are here because they're loaded up.
Now you scroll down so are there some certifications that are more closely aligned with what you're looking for in a project manager? So I'm going to say that this actually is, it depends on the role that we're hiring for. So in one, it might be more waterfall or agile, depending on the type of projects we have that for that client. So we've got some Scrum Masters, we've got several PMPs. So in our world, we have the beauty of picking multiple ones because of the type of projects that we have with those clients. So there isn't really one for us. I can't really answer which one would work better. It's really up to kind of the methodology that you use at your company and which one works better. For us, we have an array. Let's see, on average, what is the typical candidate background in project management? We have been seeing lately a lot of, because project managers are overachievers, so a lot of them come in and they've got their MBA, they've got their PMP or some other equivalent, and they have several years. And we're really looking for people in our organization who at least have 5 years plus of project management, because we need them to hit the ground running really quickly. I often tell them, just picture yourself being dropped onto a treadmill. That treadmill is already set to 4.0. You just have to go. You're not going to really have time to start from zero and ease into it. So we've got to move. We've got to have seasoned people. Next question, with the hiring frenzy of the big resignation, yes. Has this new addition cost you great candidates? So far, no. What's costing us more is that candidates are getting multiple offers. And, money talks, obviously, and we're a fairly small organization. We can do what we can, but there's a lot of companies out there that are just throwing big numbers out to get folks in because they're hurting for people. So really, we've also had, this has happened to us twice in the last couple months. We've had people use the interview process to get their current employer to counter because they've been at their current employer for a while. And as you know, you get the slow, steady increases unless you get a major promotion And with the inflation rates happening right now, a lot of people are feeling like they're getting behind and they feel like they need a drastic measure. So we've had two recently that it was clear afterwards that they were using the whole thing just to get an offer and use that as a tool to get a counter at their current, and their current did, because to your point, this big resignation, this great resignation that's happening, it's costing companies a lot of money in recruiting fees and recruiting time and onboarding time. What's finally starting to come out is that people are realizing the grass isn't greener necessarily on the other side. So now there's the great, what are they calling it? It's not resignation.
Boomerang.
Yeah, because everybody's like, oh, what did I just do? So then they're feeling bad about that. We've actually had we had a PM that gave their notice. They had an offer for more money. It was at a bigger company. They gave their notice. We countered. They still decided that they wanted to go on to the bigger shiny thing. Made the announcement to the company that they were leaving. We started recruiting and planning for the backfill. And about a week and a half into it, just a few days before was supposed to be his last day, he came back and said, you know, I'm already having regrets about this. This is a great company. It's a great environment. Don't really want to leave the people. Not really sure I want to take this risk right now. Will you have me back? So we're starting to see some people figure that out before it's too late. That just has happened in the last few weeks. So that worked out well for us because obviously we had time invested, and he's already learned our clients. So we were really happy about that. But he changed his mind before he got on the other side of the fence. Let's see. Do you have problems finding candidates? We were going through a rough patch there for a little while where we were having a lot of trouble. We ended up having to engage. We had 4 separate recruiting companies going all at once. We had a little bit of time where I was a little bit worried. We had a couple openings and we had a lot of growth. We've hired quite a few people. This recruiting thing for us, we were very fortunate during the whole pandemic. We started off with 81 employees. We had a tiny dip in early 2020, and we're now up to 110 right now. So we've had significant growth during this time. So we've done a lot of recruiting and a lot of hiring. And I was a little worried there for a bit on the PM side, but it's picked up a little bit and we've been doing a little bit better. What type of technical screening do you conduct? Systems or office technical skills or specific to the job? Project management. Our project managers just fire off specific. There's no set technical list that we go through. Each of them has their own thing. And it also depends on what we're hiring for. So if we're hiring for an enterprise client that's very, very technical and we need somebody that knows switches and routers and things like that, we'll throw that into the mix as well. But it's usually just your standard project management skills. I mean, do they know? It's not this simple. Clearly they ask better questions, but things like, do you know what a work breakdown structure is? And, how do you handle budgets? And do you use Gantt charts? What tools do you use? How would you handle this scenario? It's that type of thing. Not so much office technical skills. We don't really bring that into the mix. We get a little bit of that by nature of seeing what they do in the presentation if they make it that far. So we'll see their PowerPoint skills, and we definitely see their note-taking skills. So I guess we do a little bit of that by proxy. Next question, what is the attrition rate since changing this process? Great question. We had the one who gave us notice and then retracted it. I'm not sure that we've had anyone leave since that has happened. And it's been This is a change that we made in the last 2 years. We had one who left. So just one. Our retention rates are pretty amazing at this company. We're up in the 95, 96 range last I figured it out. And that was before we started having this great resignation, but it was about 1.5 years ago when I ran that number. Let's see, is there a maximum number of projects and clients that you will allow for a single PM? We don't have a hard maximum because our projects are so vastly different. We can have a teeny tiny project where we're just going to go in and replace a couple pieces of hardware. We throw a PM on it just to make sure we get all the scheduling. Maybe there's multiple places they can have little tiny ones like that, all the way up to if they're doing a massive, say that one of our clients acquires another company and they're doing a whole build of a whole brand new site and bringing that company in, we'll put them on just that one. So we don't have that set max. It's really just about the type of projects, how many they feel they can handle, the complexity of the projects, and then we're continually asking them how their workload is, and we're monitoring that at all times. It's hard because I can't see if that answered your question. So hopefully I answered all the questions that were in the chat. Tanisha, do you see any other ones?
No, I don't. And if anybody has any follow-up questions, you can put them in now. We can follow up on them for sure.
And the last slide has all my contact information on it. So feel free to reach out if you have any other questions that you think of later. My LinkedIn, my email address is all in there. Love to hear from you if you have any follow-up questions. I do see that Tanisha, what do we have, 4 minutes?
Yes, we're at time. So thank you. Oh wait, no, that's Colleen saying great presentation. I was like, wait, there's one more question. It's just Colleen saying great presentation. This has been very, very useful. Thank you so much, Christie. On behalf of the whole entire PMI WIC board, we appreciate your time, your flexibility, and the information that you shared today. So thank you so much for taking your time to share with our members. We appreciate you.
Thank you all. Hope to hear from you. Bye.
Bye. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Okay, great. Thank you.